Hello and welcome to the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. My name is Harry Doran. We are just days away from the World Championships kicking off at Alexandra Palace. Remember, the talkSPORT network will have every single session, every single live game for you across the app on talkSPORT 2. And guess what? You'll be able to stream it live, watch-alongs on the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. Please remember, if you're new here, we've got some insane videos on the channel. Remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment. We've got an outstanding commentary team. Ian Dancer, Mark Wilson, Paul Nicholson, The Asset, Mace, The Ace, Chris Mason, and more and more. So with us doing a little darts preview ahead of the World Championships 2026, man, I said it throws off a lot of people and they're like, yeah, but it's 2025, why are you calling it 2026? It's because it ends in January. Shall I introduce our guest in the studio? People have said recently that we look alike. I don't see it. We're from the same neck of the woods, so I could say we could be cousins some way down the line. I don't really want to check the records and do DNA tests, to be honest with you. Presenter of Online Darts, Philip Bars.
How are you doing, buddy? You all right?
Hey, Phil. I mean,
good to see you.
I mean, even better to see you as well. You've got the early train from Andover.
Yeah.
Down here to London Bridge, mate. I mean, it's always great to be in your presence. I mean, we've only done stuff on YouTube, but we're here now. We're in the flesh.
In person, in the studio.
First time in London?
No, don't be daft.
Yeah, but you're still Andover. Is that Hampshire or Wiltshire?
Yeah, Hampshire.
So obviously same neck of the woods. I'm Newbury, you're Andover. So what?
20 minutes.
25 minutes. I mean, the big city can be intimidating for people like us, can't it? Because obviously we're country bumpkins.
100%. The first time you come, it's like, oh, this is posh and this is shiny. But after a while, just like, well, here we go again.
And here we go again, mate. Because obviously you do absolutely everything in the darts scene. Like, you do expos. You're absolutely everywhere. Every single tournament, major, if it's around the world. Doesn't matter if it's in Skegness, New York City, Bars, you're there. First and foremost, before we get into all of the action, Phil, what does the World Championships mean to you?
It's weird because as a kid growing up, the PDC wasn't there to start with. So my first World Championship memories are actually Lakeside because that was all that was there. And then I remember, didn't understand why the split happened at the time because you're still a kid. But then he was like, oh, there's double darts and stuff like that. But look, the way the sport has grown from Lakeside and then the Circus Tavern with only 24 players, the move to Alexandra Palace, everyone was like, Barry, you're mad. You can't take darts to the Palace. It won't work. We're now in 2026 and we've got the news that for 2027, we're going to the Great Hall. The sport just continues to thrive and it is an incredible place to be in. And look, the Palace makes dreams, but it shatters dreams as well. It can make or break seasons. People that have had a bad season up until now can put it right at Alexandra Palace. Luke Littler has had the most incredible season going, but if he doesn't win the World Championships, it will mean nothing. Those other 5 majors won't mean anything because he hasn't won the big one. So the next 3 weeks are the biggest in any player's career.
It's just a different energy, isn't it? Like, we're both fortunate in the fact that we get to speak to a lot of players and, you know, I speak to Target quite a lot and Lucy Mack there, and obviously we're always requesting interviews with players, and it comes down to it when it goes to the Worlds, when you're like, can I have time with Josh Rock or something like that? And then obviously you understand the Worlds coming up. The preparation for the Worlds is different. We understand that we can get time with these players if it's ahead of the Slam or the Grand Prix, even in the match play, even though they're majors. Like, that's the word that I was looking for. They're majors. But the Worlds, because obviously everyone wants the perfect preparation and they want the perfect tournament at the same time as well. It's just magical. And you mentioned obviously pressure on Luke Littler this year off the back of the year that he's had, and you figure something like Luke Humphries as well, losing Snakebite. I mean, especially everything that was going on, them two sort of like, you know, throwing jabs at each other in their press conferences. Could you see another situation like that with Luke Littler? Because this year, this is stank of like MVG 2016. I know MVG was an animal in 2016, but Littler's year this year has just been outrageous.
It has been outrageous, but like I said earlier, it means nothing if he doesn't add the biggest one to it all. If he doesn't add it, it will just be a great year, but someone else finished it with the World Championship. You go back to the snakebite Luke Humphries game. Peter Wright played it brilliantly.
Yeah.
That last year. That, if we're being honest, if he just went toe-to-toe with Luke Humphries, could he win? Probably not, because the form they were both in, that Luke Humphries was a better player at that stage of their career than Peter Wright. But Peter was clever. He dragged Luke into an unfamiliar zone. Luke doesn't play mind games. Luke doesn't get involved in the media. But he got dragged into a battle.
Yeah.
And it worked for Snake. But I think Luke learned a lot from that whole experience. So that's an interesting one for me. Do I think someone can do that to Littler? I'm not sure, because he is so relaxed. He is so cool.
He's got
calm,
quite a good route to the final as well.
collected.
Is it Gezi that you'd meet in the semi-final?
Quarterfinals. He could meet go. That's the stumbling block.
Yeah.
If he doesn't lose to Gerwyn Price, I don't see him not making the final. That's when you circle a game and say him getting to the final is all on that one tie for me. Of course, look, there could be. In round one, Darius Labanauskas could go and average 107. Luke only averaged 98 and lose. They all have that in the locker, but it would be unlikely. But we know that Gezi has that level to match anyone in the world. So that's the one that I'm looking at going, that's his stumbling block to the final.
What do you think of the 128 players at the same time as well? Does it lose its entertainment value a little bit, in the sense that we've got a few, first round games with, people that aren't necessarily household names, but can obviously get themselves into a bigger sort of status of clout, if you wanted to say that. Is it, or I'm trying to think of like the right words to sort of, I'm not saying that it sort of cheapens the product.
Does it dilute the product?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Does it dilute the product a little bit?
Maybe to start with, but it's a good thing. It's a good move to go to 128. Look, this year, does it dilute it? Maybe. But when they went from 32 to 64, did it dilute it to start with? Yes. But it got more concentrated and got to the standard we are now. When they went to 96, did it dilute it to start with? Yes. But then look at last year's World Championship.
Yeah.
So will it dilute it for a few years? Possibly. But in 2 or 3 years' time, we'll be going, wow, because all 128 that are there will be at a level, because this will improve nations around the world. It will improve territories, because now there is a lot on offer. £15,000 just for getting to the World Championships. That is a lot of money for people to target just by getting there.
Yeah. And just for turning up, 15 grand. I mean, it makes me want to work a little bit harder on my hockey game, to be honest with you, Buzz. I mean, I'm not going to spoil what I've got coming out in the next couple of weeks, but I performed quite well against a professional player yesterday.
Yeah.
Not saying who. I will not spill those beans, because I can't spoil.
Well, I know who you played, so I'm not going to say it, but I know who you played, so I know who it is.
We keep that quiet, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, I've teased it. I've dangled the carrot for you. All right, I've dangled it, and it's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Phil, there's some massive, I would say, first round draws. Obviously I said about it being diluted there. I think I've got 10 games down, and you'll probably add another 5 in with games that I think are huge. First one I've got down here is Michael Smith versus Lisa Ashton. Has the potential to be huge. Obviously Smith, he showed some real moments at the Slam. Lisa Ashton, I actually thought she was unlucky to go out of the group stage, because she could put an unbelievable, even though she got get whitewashed twice. Was it by Vessel and also Josh Rock as well?
And push Van Veen real close.
Took four legs off.
5-4 Van Veen.
Yeah, took 4 legs off Jan Van Veen. And Michael's going to be coming into this with, a lot to sort of prove. He's going through his arthritis issues in both his. We've seen the pictures of his wrist and also his ankle at the same time as well. This game's massive for Michael Smith, isn't it?
This game is all how fit Michael Smith is.
Yeah.
If we get Michael Smith at the Grand Slam, I think he wins it comfortably. If we get Michael Smith that turned up at Minehead at the Players' Championships, that could barely walk, was literally dragging himself on the walk-on to even get on the stage, then he's beatable. Look, Lisa will go down as one of the greatest women ever to play the sport. 4 times champion of the world. But injuries health, and I hate to say it, old age catches up with everyone at the end. And when you get a little bit older, those injuries are harder to get by, the setbacks are harder to get over. And I just think that if Michael is 70, 80%, he will have too much for Lisa. But if he's not at that level, is he beatable? 100%. It's an intriguing game for that reason until we see which version of Bully Boy rocks up at the Palace.
You speak about versions, and that brings me on to my next one, Daryl Gurney versus Bo Greaves. And you know what? Obviously, you're in it to win it, but Chizzy's got Fallon, right? And I think the same situation's going to be with Lisa Ashton as well. The majority of that Alexandra Palace crowd, Chizzy's a crowd favourite, right? Chizzy's a crowd favourite, but everyone is going to be Team Fallon, and everyone's going to be Team Bo against Daryl. How does Daryl approach this? Because he can't do his normal S-housery, I don't think, because he'll just come out as public enemy number one. But Daryl can win without doing that, can't he?
He can, but I don't think he'll care. If he's public enemy number one, I genuinely don't think he'll care. He'll do what he has to do to win that tie. If he has to play a few games, he'll play them, and he genuinely won't care. But everyone's looking at it and going, he's the one that's in danger. He's the seed that is going to crash out. Look, if Bo plays to the levels that we know Bo can, she can win the game. It's an intriguing tie because, again, we've seen the good, the bad and the ugly from Daryl Gurney this year. We've seen him go an average 110 on the Euro Tour. We then see him follow up with an 88. It's what version of both players is going to turn up. But one thing, Daryl Gurney won't care about what the crowd do. He will get on with his game. If he needs to take a moment to slow it up, he will do. If he's in a rhythm, he'll get on with it. It's all about the feel of Daryl Gurney and how he feels on the day. Look, Bo will just do what Bo does, is get up and throw amazing darts. It's what she's done all year, and I can't wait to see her on tour next year because she's been incredible. Beating Littler in the World Youth semi-final was one of the games of the year. Shame it was only 10 legs or whatever it was. But it's an intriguing tie because, like you say, Bo will be the crowd favourite. But of all people, it won't affect Daryl because he just gets on with it and does what he does. He's been in hostile environments before. He's played Gary Anderson in the Premier League in Scotland and stuff like that. So he's used to those hostile atmospheres. So, look, I think Bo does win, but I don't think it's going to be because of anything else other than her playing better than Daryl on the day.
Shaggy versus Paolo Nebreda. Paolo Nebreda is quite a cult legend. Alexandra Palace. So you think back to last year and that performance against Smudger. Shaggy has been struggling. I mean, there was obviously the talk of dartitis, and you look at the Players' Championship final, has got absolutely brushed aside by Josh Rock at Minehead. Is this where you sort of like see Shaggy come back into the fold a little bit, or is there more work potentially to be done? Because he does love that massive stage as well.
I think there's work to be done, but also at Minehead, he won his first round game, was steady enough, and he still played well against Josh Rock. It was an incredible performance from Rocky to beat him. When was the average? 107, I think it was. He's just run into a very good,
lethal,
just run into a very good performance. The pleasing thing for me was the action looked so much better at Minehead. Look, we were all worried for Scott Williams when we saw those pictures from the Pro Tour. I know that he's kind of like, look, I've got stuff to do. He doesn't want to say what he's doing and what he needs to do. But at Minehead, there were good signs that the action looked okay. So hopefully it was just a blip in that Players' Championship event. He's managed to work through it. We've seen the same with Nathan Aspinall in the Premier League a couple of years ago where he had, I think it was in Brighton, where his action fell apart that night. And now look where Nathan Aspinall is. It's not the end of the world. It can be rebuilt. And Shaggy's a strong character. Mentally, one of the toughest you will ever see. And like you said, he comes alive on that stage. He owns the stage. That persona, chest out, he's bold, brash, brazen at times. He's almost like an Aussie going out to bat in the Ashes. Chest up. This is my arena. And I think he'll do that to Paolo Nebreda. I think he'll dominate the stage. I think he'll intimidate Nebreda with that massive presence he has on the stage, and I just think he'll have a little bit too much.
What about when Paolo's quite slow and methodic in his throw at the same time as well, very measured? Do you think that'll frustrate Scott or not? No,
I just think he will be in the zone. I think he'll be playing with the crowd. He'll be behind Paolo, he'll be chatting to the crowd or something like that. And the slow play only affects you if you're behind. If Pulling the Breeder gets a set up and a break up, then the mind plays tricks on you. But as long as Scott's in front, I don't think it will matter.
Connor Scott versus Simon Whitlock, I'm putting down as. Mate, we've got some heavy hitters in this first round. I think if a lot of people haven't really looked at it, and what stuff can actually mean for some players at the same time as well. Connor Scott was genuinely unlucky to not go through at the Slam against Josh Rock. I mean, I think it was the comeback they had against Josh Rock was absolutely sensational. But Rock just got over the line. Simon Whitlock as well, of course, winning the Premier League over in Australia and New Zealand as well. So the Wizard's coming into a bit of form at the same time as well. He's been doing his work overseas. Simon's got a point to prove. Obviously, didn't pick up his tour card at Q School back in January. And I mean, he's going to be wanting to go full throttle, but still at the same time, I can remember Mardle giving Scott a lot of credit. Connor's form hasn't been good on the floor recently. I understand he's not qualified enough to be playing in sort of like Euro tours and other sort of like majors at the same time as well, but he's another person that loves the stage, and he's an absolute. I see about Pulling the Breeder being methodical. The way that Connor Scott throws a dart is completely unique at the same time as well. Connor Scott, I mean, incredible last year at the same time as well. This is such a huge test, and it could potentially mean a lot for both players.
Yeah, it is a lot for both players. Simon Whitlock has been one of the greatest that we've seen. World finals, winning the European Championships, winning the World Cup, the best player that we've seen from Australia. But age has caught up with him. He says that I'm too old now. On my day, can I compete with the best in the world? Yes, but those days don't happen enough anymore, and he's already said he's not going back to Q School this year because his body can't compete for 4 or 5 days. But one game a day, can the Wizard get himself up for that? 100% he can. But Connor Scott, if he flops here at the Worlds, there's a lot of pressure on next year because then he's defending that money again. So he's not had the best of seasons, but like we said earlier, the Worlds can change all of that. It can go from an average season to a very good season with a couple of wins. And look, Connor played well at the Grand Slam. He's going to have to reproduce that. We obviously know he's changed manufacturer and changed dart halfway through the year, but I think now he's finally settled on his equipment from that move. And look, I think he will have a little bit too much for the Wizard. I just think that Simon will have moments, but I don't think he'll have enough moments. I just think Connor will just pick him off.
Andrew Gilding versus Cam Crabtree. Obviously, the rise of Cam Crabtree has been absolutely sensational on the development tour as well. I'm not just saying that 'cause he's a good pal of mine, but Andrew's really sort of like fallen by the wayside off the back of the match played. I mean, won a couple of games on the floor, but hasn't really been having that much of an impact since Blackpool. Maybe he's just still stiff somewhere. What do you think about that, Bart?
Yeah, I think he's still stiff in that hotel room. But it's look, when he won the UK Open, we were like, oh, hang on a minute. Because in that point, he was putting some good averages on the Pro Tour as well. And we were like, Andrew Gilding's arrived. But it's not quite happened since then. Look, we know what Andrew Gilding will do. It's methodical, but it's the same. The routine to the hockey, step to the left and set.
Did you see the video of the matey boy doing the lawnmower?
Yeah. But you just know what he's going to do. But look, Cam Crabtree is coming into form at just the right time. Did it take him a while to settle on tour? Yeah. But now he has settled, we're seeing those performances, and look, he's a big scorer. He likes the stage. Still learning his trade as well. He's still a kid. And look, going up on that Ali Pali stage, it is like nothing anyone has ever seen before. It's the biggest stage in darts, not just physically, mentally as well. There's so much can happen up there, and he's got to deal with that as well, which will be interesting to see if he does, because again, I don't think anything phases Andrew Gilding. He's so laid back, it's unreal. It's like you could have a nuclear bomb go off behind him and he'd still just get on and do his thing. Oh, what's going on over there type thing. So look, if Cam plays to his potential and the form that we've seen in the last 3 months, I think he wins, but he's going to have to be at that level. If he's not, Andrew Gilding will punish him.
Do you know Cam's got in the second round if obviously him and the other guy make it through as Chris Dobie? And obviously what happened in the Players' Champs
Yeah.
as well. I think Cam was, 5-1 down to Dobie.
Dobie.
Brought it down to 5-5.
5-5, yeah.
And then neither of them could finish their dinner.
Yeah.
And then Dobie obviously picked up the win and won 6-5. So it could tee up a nice little...
subplot.
Yeah, nice little sort of like rematch. You know, like the everyday man, woman and child won't really notice those things. But for us,
Yeah, no.
like we sort of love those little sort of like intricacies in darts. But Cam, I think he's got potential, and obviously what we saw at the Slam as well. Obviously, 100% in his doubles against the Ferret as well. Someone that I want to come on to is Johnny Clayton. Where are you sort of standing with him at the moment? Because it hasn't, this second half of the year hasn't really gone to plan for him, in my opinion. I mean, he did well win more World Masters, got into the final and lost to Luke Humphreys. But he's facing Adam Lipscomb, who at the Players' Champs as well came into a bit of form. Should the Ferret be worried a little bit?
A Ferret would have to take it professionally. The concerning for Adam Lipscomb is the 11 missed match darts across 3 legs not to get the job done in the biggest moment of his career.
Yeah.
Look, he's still young in terms of being a PDC pro. He's not been in that environment before, and hopefully he'll learn a lot from that. But again, debut at Alexandra Palace, there will be some demons because of what happened the TV tournament before.
Yeah.
If it had lost and just got bashed up, that's darts. That happens. But the fact that he missed 11 match darts in the biggest moment of his career has to play on his mind. But he is in good form. But Johnny, I think performances have been okay, and he's not got results. I don't think the performances have dipped.
They haven't been dire.
They haven't been. That's what I mean. They've been steady without winning. But if he gets over Adam Lipscomb, I think he's in a real nice section of the draw. And look, there's a cluster of players all looking at Stephen Bunting's 4th place in that ranking, because we know what the top 4 offers you. It gives you that golden ticket into everything. So there is pressure, 1, on the worlds, but 2, the players can't help it. They all look at rankings. They go, no, I don't look at rankings. And they go, oh yeah, but if I do this, this and this, I finish there. But I thought you don't look at rankings. So they all know what they need to do, and they're all fully aware that one good run at Alexandra Palace puts them in the top 4.
Joe Cullen versus Bradley Brooks as well. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Joe Cullen coming into this tournament. Was it you that he spoke to recently about sort of like falling out of love with the game at the moment? And 2025 just hasn't been a good year for Joe whatsoever, in my opinion. He's done a few bits and pieces on the floor, but he just looks a shadow of his former self.
But he still won tournaments.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You look at other players that haven't won tournaments, we're saying they've had a good year. Joe Cullen has silverware in the cabinet this year. So what would you rather? Consistency, playing well all year, or being in and out and winning tournaments?
God, that's that midway point. You just don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. You don't know what you're going to get. But you look at Joe Cullen, it was the same this time last year.
Yeah.
When he copped the hump, because everyone had Russell Nyman favourite to beat him, and Joe Cullen rocks up and produces. We saw it at the match play as well.
Yeah.
When he's written off, when people say I don't fancy him, the switch goes upstairs. And that's a unique quality to have, that Joe almost needs that motivation, me against the world, to get him to that point and that level. It's interesting because if you go through the last 5 years, some of the most memorable moments at Alexandra Palace involve Joe Cullen.
Yes, I agree.
Some of the most explosive games, the 170 finish against Gerwyn Price to save the match, he comes alive at Alexandra Palace. And although Bradley Brooks has had a really good season, I'm still not convinced the consistency is there. When he's on, he is on.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's on enough. And I just think that Joe will find something at the Worlds. I remember, like I say, go back to the Wessel Nyman moment when the bookies had him as favourites, pundits had Nyman as favourites. Same this year. Bradley Brooks is favourite to beat him. He'll look at that. He'll remember that. And I just think that we'll get something special from Joe Cullen yet again.
You're going to probably get something special from him in the press conference if he wins as well, Bart, because he'll probably do it.
That was still one of my favourite moments of all time. It's just the way he banged the desk as well.
I'm going on, see you later. Obviously, you mentioned Chizzy, you mentioned Fallon as well. I've got a couple of more names on here, but I think Cameron Menzies will be all right.
I don't know, Charlie Manby's playing well.
Charlie Manby is playing well.
Charlie Manby is playing really, really well. But
we do obviously, I think Charlie's fantastic. But does that average that he got, that 130, hold a bit too much weight?
Possibly, but and again, it's debut. Like we say, he's going to the Palace for the first time. It's all right doing it on the Dev Tour and so on, and I'm not taking those achievements away. They're still very good. We've just seen him win the Super Series.
Yeah,
The boy can play, but can you play on the biggest stage of them all? This is we don't know until we see this happen. Is the thing. So look, would I be surprised if Charlie Manby won? No, because of what he has produced this year.
yeah.
So I don't think I don't think it would be like, oh, sensation, Charlie Manby shocks the world, because we've seen him do it all year. But the interesting one that you say there is Chizzy, because this is alarming for Dave Chisnell for me right now, because
He could plummet.
he's in danger of doing a Glenn Durran. And sorry, Duzzo, I don't mean that.
That's my uncle you're talking to.
But you look at it, the form, go back to this dip in form happened just before the World Grand Prix last year. And it was like, oh, Chizzy's he's in a bit of a bad form. This isn't now just a bad form. This is a slump. This is concerning. And watching Dave like we do, the action's never been reliable, but it's always worked. For me, the action is now broken, and I'm not sure he can fix it.
His releases.
It's all over the place. We get a left hook, a right jab, and he just can't control it. When it's on, it's still on. He could go and average 95, and that will probably be enough. But if he's low 90s, early 80s, we've even had 70s on the Pro Tour from Dave Chisnell, which is unheard of. If he's in that area, he's in danger.
Yeah.
But even if he gets over Fallon, I don't see him having a deep run. And he's in danger of them dropping out the European Tour seeds, the same as Peter Wright is. Then for the last 10 years...
Crossie's in that position as well, if Crossie goes up first round.
Correct. You've got established household names that have been in and around TV tournaments for the best part of a decade or longer that aren't guaranteed them anymore. And that becomes pressure. Because of the ranking system, you're always defending. And if you're not there, you're taking a hit. So I think there are household names that are at a crossroads in their career, and I'm not sure how some of them are going to go. I'm not sure if some of them are repairable. You look at Peter Wright. Peter Wright will go down as one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Yeah.
But has age just caught up with Peter Wright? It happens in every sport. At some point, age gets you. Has that happened to Peter Wright? Rob Cross, we all know the issues he's had away from the Oki.
Yeah.
Are they playing on his mind? Can he repair it? Dave Chisnell, like I said, I think the action is unrecognisable and unrepairable. And then all of a sudden, how do you find a way to win again? Yeah. So the Worlds is huge for these players, because early defeats, they go into 2026 in a world of trouble.
And they've only won 15 grand as well.
Correct.
Starting terms, I mean, it's all right if you're a debutante and you win £15,000. If you're someone like Charlie Manby, you go, well, I just won 15 grand. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, you're a little bit disappointed. But if you're someone like Dave Chisnell, or you're someone like a Snakebite...
If you're defending a quarter-final from 2 years ago, 15 grand doesn't scratch the surface of what you're trying to defend. Look, this year, or this tournament, is the first one on the new Sky deal. Yeah. We know all the money goes up from here. This year, the world's money is insane. Yeah. But we know the prize money goes up on the other tournaments as well next year. So it's dangerous times, because they're defending money, and if they're not there, the ones that are there are not only going to catch them, they're going to earn more because the prize money's gone up.
Yeah. My final first round game, I'm not going to do too much analysis on this because we've got so much to get through before we finish up. Krzysztof Ratajski versus Alexei Toilo, which could end up being like a 5.5 hour game if you think about it, because we know that Krzysztof Ratajski can be quite measured in the way.
Yeah, he's methodical.
Krzysztof Ratajski is mate, beating Jan van Veen at the Players' Champs as well. You saw what it meant to him. Alexei Toilo as well. Luke Woodhouse and Stephen Bunting at the Slam were absolutely fuming, mate. And I mean, he takes his time. He does the old
phantom dart,
the old air thrown phantom dart as well. We've been guilty of doing that in the shower. I sometimes lay on the sofa and try and get my form going. But there's phantom darts and then there's Alexei Toilo at the same time. So that's all I'm going to say on the first round games. Out of all of them, just for the pure, internet meltdown and people in the press room like yourselves, like pulling your hair out how slow that game could potentially be, it's got cult-like status that we could actually see a record time for a game.
There's a reason that game's last in the session.
Oh, mate, it's just going to go on forever. Let's go into the favourites, and obviously Luke Littler sits on top of that tree with the 5-6 majors that he's won this year alone. First game, Darius Labanaskas. I mentioned obviously the amount of majors that he's won, and we've mentioned a bit on Luke Littler. I just can't look past him, Phil. I can't. And then we've already spoken about the different energy in which Alexandra Palace has. The guy is a killer, as simple as that. And I'm not saying anything unique or different, because I don't think there's really that many different takes to have on Luke Littler. You'd like to think that he can go back to back. And he's already the real deal anyway. You know, you're always going to have people saying, "Oh, he went out in the second round. He's not the real deal. Luke Littler's overrated." No, he's not. He's absolutely insane. He's just got that dog in him, mate. And he's in that vein of form right now where it's like, I don't know, I hate comparing him to Taylor and stuff like that. But he'd give anyone from darts history a run for their money at the moment.
100%. And look, you look on the stats for this year, Luke goes off rightfully favourite to win the World Championships. However, only 3 people have ever defended this crown.
Yeah.
And that's the caveat to all this. Look, would I be surprised if on January the 3rd Luke Littler is the back-to-back champion of the world? No, of course I wouldn't, because it's Luke Littler. But there's a reason only Taylor, Lewis and Anderson have defended this. Hasn't happened for 10 years.
Yeah.
Luke is a generational talent. There is no question of that. The kid is unreal. But the added pressure of going back as champion is different. We looked to the Ryan Meikle game last year. That's the first time I've seen him crack. So, and that was going back just for the second time as the teenage phenomenon.
Yeah.
There will be pressure on him. Can he rise to it? Absolutely he can. But would I be surprised if Gerwyn Price beat him in that section? Would it be a shock? No.
It reignites so much as well, obviously, from what we had in the Premier League when they were sort of like trading blows. Then Gezi had a good record against Littler as well, which could set up. If it's the dream sort of like latter round game, isn't it, between those two? Because they're going to be throwing absolute bombs. You think about Players Championship. What was it? What was Gezi's? Gezi tried to do 120, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was it?
20 ball. He missed the second ball.
Yeah, he blocked off treble 20 off the top of my head. But Littler is so unorthodox in the way that he does his routes. It's honestly like you turn around to your mate in the pub or in darts league and just go, right, I'm going to find the most ridiculous way to try and check this out, like a Gezi going 20 ball. And Littler does it, and I'd say 75% of the time it actually works.
Yeah, agreed. But if you look as well, go back to this year, Gezi had him on toast at the World Grand Prix. Yes, Luke found a way to win, but Gezi has the game to beat Luke. And set play is very different. Look, in those long leg plays, Luke can reel off 6 legs in a row with a spell of genius.
You think about the match play.
And you're 6 legs behind all of a sudden. Set play, it's different. You don't have to play well all the time. You only have to win big moments in set play, which I think might suit Gezi at the moment, because he can miss a couple of doubles, he might lose a set, but then he can also nick one as well. So would I be surprised if it is an all-Welsh semi-final? No, I wouldn't. Would I be surprised if Luke Littler is in the final? No, I wouldn't. That's what I mean. So it's one of those ones where I think all is in play between a few players in that top half of the draw.
I think Gezi can win it.
I agree. I 100% I can.
Not only is he looking phenomenal, like obviously I spoke to him last week, and I was like, I'm not going to ask you anything on the weight loss, because it's just everyone's asked you and it's just boring now. But there's just such a different energy about him, the arc of Gerwyn Price. And I asked him at the start of the year, obviously being like the villain element. I never classed myself as the villain. You know, you think about all of the Ando stuff, and you think about clashes with Daryl Gurney and Jackpot and stuff like that. He was public enemy number 1 for so many years, and you got the Year Defenders moment as well. He's literally come full circle. There's so many people, obviously, that will still not like Gerwyn Price and can't stand him, obviously, the roaring and the way that he holds himself. But For all the years that you've watched darts, have you ever seen someone go full circle a little bit and then almost become like a crowd favourite?
Not to this degree. It's mad. And look, Gezi is one of the best players of the last decade. Absolutely superb. But one thing that does grind on him is his world title was behind closed doors.
Yes.
Even he feels that he'll always be a world champion. You can never take that away from him. But he says it himself. At times, it feels like there's a little asterisk next to it because of the conditions that he won it under. So he's desperate to have what he calls a proper world title. One where Ali Pali is full. It is buzzing out there. He's been close this year. He's threatening something. Is he just saving the best till last? Quite possibly. I know he's gone off for a few days winter sun to get ready for the Worlds as well. So he'll come back, relax. I was with him Sunday in Cardiff. Him and Johnny played very, very well. So prep has been good. It's also been good for a lot of other players as well. So it's going to be interesting. That top half, I think, I can't look past Luke, Johnny and Gezi. I think they're the three standouts.
We put Humphries there. Because I've got a feeling, if we had a camera and it went to Crew right now, remember Rocky 4?
Yeah.
Obviously, Rocky versus Ivan Drago.
He's out in the mountains, chopping his wood.
I've got a feeling that Luke Humphries right now is like beard down there. He's obviously always got a bit of face wear. He keeps himself neat and tidy. Obviously, he puts less gel in his hair like you, Vars. But I love your trim, by the way.
But actually, I need a fresh cut for the Worlds.
Yeah. You got a barber up at Ali Pali or not?
Nah.
Oh, you're just going to let it grow out?
Nah, I'm in tomorrow, actually.
Anyway. Luke Humphries, I can just imagine him right now. You know,
Just doing his thing.
Adrian Lewis is in the corner just watching him throw. You know, Rocky montage going on. He's got a picture of Luke Littler in a mirror that he's just crunching. He's got Luke Littler's face in the dartboard. He wants it, and you know, off the back of the slam where he said 7 weeks, 6 weeks. That's it. That's all he'll have world number one for, because I'm coming for you, boy. I'm coming. Is there a danger that Luke Humphries could be potentially a bit too charged up?
No, I don't think so, because he's got this mannerism that he doesn't allow himself to do it. It'll be business. It's all a process for Luke Humphries. He's never out of his comfort zone. He just gets on and does what he has to do. And I think it'll be the same at this World Championship, where he just do his thing. The year he won it, he wasn't favoured until near the end.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Littler. I think he'll like that. He'll enjoy that. But from that bottom half, is he a danger to get to the final? 100% he is, because he's good. But it goes back to what we said earlier. If Luke Humphries ends up being a 2-time world champion, who's had the better year?
It always comes to
It comes down to one thing. Who is world champion? And we asked Littler, would you swap those 5 for that one? He didn't even blink. The answer was yes. He would swap all the other 5 he's won this year for this one. And if you say to Luke Humphries, we'll give you 5 majors in 2025, but you don't win the Worlds, or we'll give you nothing and you win the Worlds, what are you taking? They're taking the Worlds all day long.
Yeah. It makes you think. It really does make you think, though, doesn't it? Like, Humphries, he's had to obviously deal with Littler in a lot of these major finals. You know, obviously get the stats of when the two Lukes and how many majors the two Lukes have been in, like, the last sort of like couple of years and stuff like that. Humphries is like, yes, he won the Premier League, won more World Masters at the same time as well. And yeah, early exit at the match play to Jan van Veen. But you know, you look at the Slam, you look at the Grand Prix as well. I mean, the guy did all that he could. He's just competing, obviously, with Luke Littler, who's just not. They're in the same league, but he's just obviously going through what he's going through and being the absolute freak on the board that he is. But that's such a good question that you pose, man. That's like,
Yeah.
Like that. Just who would have had the bet? Littler. It's Littler.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Do you know why? Because the Worlds of 2026 is another year. Come on! Got him there. You can't fool me, Bars. You can't fool me. But I think if you just look at the whole sort of, you know, if you look at all of the accolades of Luke Littler this year and what he's smashed and what he's done, I don't think you can look past him. But the world is just a different animal, isn't it?
It is. And one of them, will be the first £1 million champion as well.
Who is going to be the first £1 million man, Buzz? Like, seriously, if I were to come over there and say, Buzz, I'm locking the door, you're not leaving here, we'll be in here for a month, I don't care, you've got to tell me right now. Basically, I'm saying, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Who is it?
It will be a Luke, and I know which one. Luke Humphries is a 2-time champion of the world. I'm going with history. This is tough to defend. Look, has Luke Littler been the best player this year? Yes. I'm not arguing that. Do I think they will meet in the final? Yes. But I just think maybe the pressure of trying to defend it will be a little bit too much. And I think Humphries gets revenge. Knowing Humphries, 2-time champion of the world.
I'd love to see it. Personally, I love both of them to bits, but we've been...
they're both unbelievable players.
Yeah, both unbelievable people as well. I haven't got a bad word to say about either of them, but with Humphries obviously being a Newbury boy and me being a Newbury boy as well, I have to go with the bias there. Is there any dark horses that you could really point out? Like, you know, I always say it every single year, one person that I'd love to see win the Worlds who deserves... No one deserves anything in life, but you know, one person you'd love to see win the world is James Wade, in my opinion.
James had an incredible year. Yeah, he's brilliant year. It's just a shame his record at Ali Pali is awful. But James Wade's the only player I can make a case for to be one of the greatest of all time that doesn't have a world title to his name, and that's the highest compliment I can pay him because he hasn't got that world title, but he's won everything else. Would I be surprised if James Wade got to the final of the Worlds? No, because it's what James Wade does. He just does his thing. He goes under the radar. No one talks about him. He'll take out a cheeky little 1-2-1 or a 1-2-4 on the ball. It's what he does. But I just wonder, is there some scarring because of the record at Ali Pali? And I know people say, I don't look at things. You know your records in tournaments. Yeah. You know that you haven't got the best record there.
What, it hasn't gone further than first round in the last 3 years?
Right? I think so, yeah. I think the semi-final, obviously, Wingate, where...
We're giving it a jackpot.
Well, I still believe to this day, if he stays on stage, he's world champion.
Yeah.
Because Adrian had gone at that point. If James stays on stage, I believe that he would have beaten Andy Hamilton in the final. Yeah. But we'll never know. That's what I love about it.
I'd love Wadey to win it.
I think James will have a good run. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he'll have a good run at Alexandra Palace.
How's Jan van Veen going to go? Of course, he's pretty straight. He's never won at Alexandra Palace.
Well, again, we talk about records there. He's fully aware that he's never won a game there. So first hurdle for him, he has to win his first round game.
European champion, youth champion, as well. He has had a decent year, old Jan van Veen. He's
great year.
Yeah, Euros as well. Obviously losing to Michael van Gerwen on the European tour, but if you break it down to like the whole thing and you look at sort of, it's kind of probably harsh to compare him and Wessel Nijman, even though they're two Dutch.
Similar, but
obviously different throws in that, but. Jan looks a lot more comfortable than Wessel. What I'm seeing from Wessel at the moment, he seems to be a bit too nervous and panics a bit. But that all comes with experience.
Yeah, they've both got a ridiculously high ceiling. But yeah, Jan is managing that ceiling better at the moment. Look, could Wessel have a good run? Yes. Could Van Veen have a good run? Yes. I think Van Veen runs into Humphries quarterfinals or round 4. I can't remember that. I haven't got it in front of me. But they're on a collision course. And I think that at the Worlds, Humphries would just have a little bit too much for him. So, but look, is a run to round 4 for Van Veen a good tournament, considering he's never won a game there? Absolutely it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there, the great Phil Bars. There's even so much that we've not been able to get through. I just wanted to take the time and say goodbye to John McDonald and George Noble. Your service. Bars, give them a salute. Your service to the darts world has been absolutely incredible. You will be deeply missed. Buzz, thank you so much. I know that we probably didn't get to. I feel like we probably even just scratched the surface. I feel like there's, you know, when you do something like this and you look back on it and you go, oh God, why didn't I speak about that? But listen, there's so much to cram into this whole month. Obviously, we're going to be speaking to each other over the World Championships at the same time as well. If you let me do that with you,
of course, mate. Of course, 100%.
Oh, that makes my Christmas right there. Listen, I've got a niece and she's the most important thing at Christmas. But you know, making content with Phil Bars, it's like a level playing field. Do you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? Like I mentioned at the top, we'll have every single game from Alexandra Palace, every single session live for you across the talkSPORT network, talkSPORT 2, the talkSPORT app at the same time as well, and most importantly, the talkSPORT Darts YouTube channel. You'll be able to do. You'll be able to watch the watch along. It always makes me feel weird saying that. Watch the watch along. You'll be able to watch all of the action, the watch along of all of the commentators from Alexandra Palace. Please remember to like and subscribe as well. Leave a comment, leave a like. Cheers. See you later.